Today we're going to be drawing the branches of the cherry blossoms and then the cherry blossom flowers coming out of our vase. So here is what it's going to look like when we're finished. So first, grab your pencil and Sharpie. I grabbed a skinny Sharpie, a thin point. If you don't have one of those, a regular one will work. And then later, we're going to be coloring these in. So if you have crayons or colored pencils or markers, I did colored pencils for the flowers and a mixture of colored pencils and crayons for the branches. But first we're going to do the branches, and you're going to start at the top of your vase, and you're just going to make some lines coming out. And it's okay if they're not straight, because branches are not perfectly straight. So I'm just like curving it around. And then you're going to be making a second line. So start at the top, and it's going to be a point because branches come out to a point. And you're just following this line all the way back down until you get to the top of your pot again. And you're going to do that all throughout all directions. So here I'm just doing another line and then start at the top. Remember, it's a point and come back down. Now, if your branches are crossing over, you don't want to go right through it. So if you run into another branch like this, you just pick your pencil up, and it's like you're leaping over that other branch that you ran into. And then you just continue your line. So it's like you're playing leapfrog with the lines. So here I'm coming back down. And when I hit this other branch, I'm going to pick up my pencil and continue it down. For each of these branches, you're going to want to put more branches coming off of it. And we learned these in the beginning of the year with our tree drawings. So here you can just put out different lines. It's exactly like the branch. So start at the point and then come back all the way to the line. So you can also just make lines coming off like this if this is too difficult. So you can do either way. So you can just put lines like this, or you could bring it back towards it. And you're going to want to make a lot of these lines. So have them crossing over and have a lot of them coming off of each other, because then we're going to be putting the flowers on top. After you're done with your branches, I'm going to go over all of my lines with Sharpie, skinny Sharpie, or the Sharpie, whichever one you have. I'm going to go over all of these lines. So for the flowers, you're going to be making a lot of flowers. And the one thing to remember is cherry blossom flowers have 5 petals on them. And it's okay if you mess up a few. Like one of mine has 4 on it. No one's going to notice if you mess up. I'm just going to use my skinny Sharpie, but you can use your pencil and go over your flowers afterwards. And you can just put them anywhere. Afterwards, I just connected them to the branch with a green colored pencil. So here I'm going to start by putting a little circle with my Sharpie. And then you're going to be making the petals coming out of it. So always start on the top one. So you're starting at the center and going up and back down like a big rainbow. My petals are smaller at the center, so it goes out and then back. Then I put the 2 side ones, so you can just go around and back and keep going around. So I have 3 now, and I'm just gonna put 2 more to make it 5. And you can have all different sizes, so if you want smaller one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All flowers are different, so don't worry about making them look perfect, but just start with the center dot, and just think that you're making like a big rainbow shape. So start at the center, go up, and then back down. Up, back. And make as many as you want. After you're finished going over all of your lines with Sharpie, you're gonna start coloring. So the branches, like I grabbed a couple different browns. You can also use colored pencil. And one thing with the branches is it's not all one shade or shadow, because there's shadows and stuff in each branch, and if you look at branches, there's a bunch of different browns within each one. So even if you only have one brown, you can color really lightly down the whole thing to make it a light brown. And you can just press harder with the pencil, like on one side, to make it look more like there's a shadow on it, or it has different colors inside of it. If you have more than one brown, or if you want to go over it with crayon and colored pencil, you can mix different browns together to make them look more like realistic branches. With the flowers, if you look at a real cherry blossom, they're all different types of pink. So there's some light, there's some that are really, really light and white, and then there's some darker pinks. So here I just got a bunch of different pinks. And again, if you only have one pink or even a red, you can color lightly, very, very lightly with one, which means you're not pressing on the paper hard. I'm barely touching the paper to get that really, really light pink. And then for the center of it, I'm starting in that black center, and I'm just going out and putting some lines on each one, pressing hard with the pencil. And this is the same color. And you can see I did a light and a dark. If you have more than one color, you can even go darker. You can make some shadows on it. And you can make these look more realistic by adding more colors within each one. But again, if you only have one color, you can color lightly, and you can do this with crayon. So if you have crayon, you can pick a color to color in the whole one. If you have a red or maybe a darker pink, that's where you can put the darker center. If you want to use marker, I have a very light peach color that you can. And then I have a darker pink. And again, I'm just making some lines coming out of the center to make it look more realistic. So the coloring is up to you, whether you want to use marker, crayons, or colored pencils. All of them look really pretty. The last thing you're gonna do is put some of these green buds. They're the ones that aren't bloomed yet, or they're coming off of the flower to connect them to the branch. So you can pick either a green marker, green crayon, green colored pencil, doesn't really matter. And you can just make a green line coming from the flower going to the branch. And then you can also just do some other like sprouting or almost blooming cherry blossoms just by making a little green line coming off of them. If you want, you can add a background, or if you want like something like a table or something down here. But if you're adding a background, I wouldn't color it in very, very dark because that's going to take a really long time. So if you want to like color in a background, I think the best way would either be a crayon that's a different color from what you used here, or maybe a really, really light colored pencil. And just like with the side of your crayon, you can just color it very, very lightly. You can leave it white if you want. Like, I think this looks really pretty, but if you choose to do a background, I would color very, very light. Don't press that hard, because then you'll see all of your dark flowers and dark branches. All right, and that is it. After you're finished, take a picture of this and put it on Seesaw for me to look at.